find your own power in being able to cope with all of that?
It was me that I lost the closeness. Impossible for parents anyway to give you everything. I think if you're a woman, you're meant to be living like a goddess.
Welcome back. This is Simon Phillips here on Leading the Field, and I have an incredibly special guest, Marina J, the celebrated author of Turn Yourself On, which is both a best-selling book and a hugely followed podcast as well. So it's a huge delight to spend some time here this afternoon with you, Marina. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really, really good. It is like Armageddon out there right now. It's like wind and rain and all that stuff. But here is just sunshine. That's where we're going to go today.
Find your own power in being able to cope with all of that and get to the point where, you know, you almost didn't need anybody else. And if so, how did that impact you in terms of the way you evolved from there?
I think a lot of people who have either grown up in families where their needs weren't met, okay? And that could be your emotional needs, that could be your physical needs, that could be your spiritual needs, that could be your mental needs. So if you've grown up, and I think it's impossible for parents anyway to give you everything. But if there were some real areas that you really weren't supported, maybe in some of your basic needs, then you're going to step into that power. And so for me personally, and I see this particularly with people that have had narcissistic abuse growing up, they are very good at service, right? They're extremely good at helping other people. They're extremely good at service. They're not really going to get complaints. No one's really going to feel like they haven't gotten enough because you're so attuned to the needs of everybody else. So it makes you an amazing service provider or product provider, whatever it is that you do, you'll be amazing at it.
Did it ever make you feel disconnected from other people, or has it actually just drawn you closer to others in your support? Did you sort of like flourish in relationships, or was it something that created sort of a almost like invisible barrier for you?
No. I would know what you were thinking before you even thought it. And people would say, how are you in my mind? I mean, they still say that, but it's fine. I'm not in anybody's aura and field anymore like I used to. But I used to merge with people. And so I would hear what you were hearing. I would feel what you were feeling. You know, I would have huge downloads for people about, I know when you were 18, this happened to you. And this particular girl, when I just blurted it out, I was 18, she went, oh, how do you know? How do you know? And I just went, I don't know. There were no barriers. It was the opposite. And I was so close to everybody else that actually it was me that I lost the closeness with. And I would only really feel me when I was desperate or when I was in crisis. And then I would get into action for myself. But as soon as I was all right again, great, I'm here for you.
Did that feel like a huge epiphany, or was it just something that you stumbled upon?
Well, with yoga in particular, I mean, I went to my first ever yoga class. It was in Sydney. Yeah. And I'd had a really difficult day at work. I was a recruitment consultant. I was at the top of my game, $1 million contracts, the whole thing. And it was just a really bad day. And I walked in about to cry. And I did this yoga class. And I was laughing at it. And at the end of it, I just was like this, as high as a kite in a great way. And I walked up to the teacher and I said, I want to do what you do. And she goes, okay, well, how long have you been doing yoga for? And I said, well, just the hour, but you know, I know this is what I want to do. And she said, okay, we've got a course starting very soon, but just pace yourself, whatever. And anyway, long story short, I went on it. I knew immediately it was for me. I think when you meet somebody or you do something, there's just a certain fire. And you're like, I have this, you know, you're my person. I have to work with you. And it kind of transcends anything else, really. It's a strong feeling. The finding of me through the yoga was more gradual. It wasn't something that I suddenly went, wow. But it was something because I started to really embody the healing. I started to really feel the yoga that I learned and teach. I don't teach it anymore so much unless I'm doing, you know, workshops. Is a therapeutic kind of yoga. So it's actually about really healing your organs and muscles and certain parts of your body and your emotions. So it's really powerful. So yeah, it came in bits.
Fantastic. Marina, we're going to take a quick pause there so for people to grab a cuppa, and we'll come right back, because I'd love to hear more about the programs that you're running now and the people that you're supporting. Oh, welcome back. This is Simon Phillips with Leading the Field and my very special guest, Marina J. Marina, we talked in the first part of the show about the evolution of your career and the things that you've learned along the way. You've then pulled all of that together, I'm guessing, to deliver all of this amazing work with the community of, well, a huge community that you've built. And you wrote the book. So tell us a little bit about this book then.
I have it right here, actually. I have a very thumbed copy because I'm actually creating something at the moment. There you go. That's it. Because I love red and pink. It's called Turn Yourself On. It's a play on words. And it's about you turning on your power to have what you want and to live how you want. And there are lots of processes in there. The processes that I take my private clients through so that you can actually really transform yourself or a relationship so that you really live turned on, right? I want you turned on in your own energy, feeling fabulous. And I wrote it for women, but interestingly enough, I get a lot of guys that read it. And then I've had emails from them saying, well, look, thank you for all of that, but also now I really understand my wife. Thanks.
Well, it was actually, I mean, that's how I first met you, was this book arrived through the post and sitting there on the side. And I thought, should I be worried?
Yeah.
As you say, there's the empowerment message there.
Yeah.
What would you hope, if there was one or two key messages you want people to take away from it for themselves and maybe for their relationships, what would you hope that would be?
I think if you're a woman, you're meant to be living like a goddess. And by that, I really mean being treated like a goddess in your relationships and treating yourself like a goddess. So to me, it's about you having a divine relationship with yourself. You know, if you believe in the universe or God or the creator or something larger than you that is just hugely high vibrational, it's you treating yourself as that would treat you, whether that's God would treat you, the universe would treat you, your angels would treat you. Because you're here on this planet for so many reasons. But one of the main reasons is to actually be the greatest expression of yourself in the physical. And that means being good to yourself in all the ways, right? Physical, spiritual, emotional, mental. And so many of us have been taught to kind of forget about ourselves. You know, when you think about school wasn't about you. School was about what you did, right?
Yeah.
And this is, as we get older, we're like, you know what? I want to get paid for being me. I don't want to get paid for just what I do. And I want to be loved for just being me. And I just want to be seen and heard for being me. I don't want to have to work hard anymore. I'm done with all of that. So it's kind of putting the power back in your hands, because you are the one that can really shift yourself, but you got to want it.
Yeah.
You got to want it. If you don't want it, this is not the book for you. This is not the work for you. You got to want it. And then you'll be amazed, because the power sits with you, right? It doesn't sit with anything else. Doesn't sit with anybody else. No matter how powerful that actually appears, it's only showing you the power that you've yet to step into, you know?
Nobody gets off this show without telling us what track they'd like to add to the Leading the Field podcast. So, not podcast, playlist. So what is it for you, Marina? What track resonates or you come back to all the time? What is it?
I have to read it because I never remember names of anything. So I was like, I will write this down. It's called Love Runs Out, and it's by One Republic.
Ah, okay. And why that one?
I can sing to it. I like songs typically that I can sing to, and there's something about it that I can really sing to it. And it kind of, I feel kind of like my fire sort of starts to come up when I listen to it.
Yeah.
I don't really know what the words are massively about. I can't tell you any other song that they sing. I don't know anything about them. I just know I like the song.
And that's all you need to know.
That's all I need to know.
Absolutely. Marina, thank you so much for being a guest on our last show of the season, and good luck with everything that you've got going right now. And I'll look forward to catching up with you again.
Thank you so much for having me. Really, really loved it.
Wonderful. Thanks, Marina.